Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I'm here in my office, and it is time again for tarot scopes. And today I'm doing the tarot scopes for the water signs. And the next sign that's up is Scorpio. Yes, Scorpio. So, a couple of things happening with for Scorpio. October is somewhat of a prelude month for Scorpio because in November, well, actually in October, the sun moves into Scorpio and Mars moves into Scorpio on the 30th. But November is really when Scorpio is at its most, I guess we could say, potent. But there's some things that you need to know about October as we move through this month. First of all, um, there's a lot of movement in October in that four of our major planets are moving forward. The first one to move forward is Pluto on the 6th, which is the same day as the new moon in the sign of Libra. Your ruling planet, Pluto, will be stationing direct. Of course, Pluto is in Capricorn. Pluto has been in Capricorn now since 2008. And it's always a powerful thing when Pluto changes direction. But for you, especially because it is one of your ruling planets, your other ruling planet is Mars. And Mars has been in Libra for quite a while now. And for most of the month of October, it's in Libra. So it's not the best position for Mars, for Scorpio to have for Mars because it's moving through your 12th house of self-undoing. So this can be a challenging thing to have Mars in that 12th house. But the 12th house also activates your spiritual guides. It also brings up karma that you haven't yet dealt with that you need to take care of. So when it does finally move into your sign at the end of the month, it'll feel like a rebirth for you. So be aware of that. We do have that new moon in Libra that is happening in your 12th house. And so this is a good time to foster a relationship with your guides and then foster a relationship in order to deal with what you have to deal with and deal with what you have to let go of, because there's a certain amount of letting go that goes on in that 12th house. So we can be reborn when things move into the first house. We also have a full moon in the sign of Aries. Now, Aries is a sign not unlike Scorpio that is ruled by Mars. So that particular full moon in Aries will, of course, have the sun in your 12th house and the moon in your 6th house. And the moon is actually conjunct Eris, and the sun, I believe, yes, is conjunct Mars still. So Mars in Libra pretty much sits close to the sun. So it is an important part of both lunation cycles. The new moon that occurs on the 6th also has an inconjunct to Uranus, a very tight inconjunct to Uranus. So there can be unexpected things that come up with this new moon. And of course, it's happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is a hidden house, right? And so you do have to be aware that maybe you're not seeing everything, although Scorpios are usually pretty good at seeing most things, and tend to sort of err on the side of conspiracy. But it's, just because you're paranoid doesn't think that people aren't against you, right? That old expression. So utilize your spidey senses this month. I think that's going to be important for you. What else is going on? So Pluto, your ruling planet, goes direct. Saturn goes direct on 1010. That's the 1010 portal. Of course, Saturn is in Aquarius. And for you, Scorpio rising, that would be your 4th house. So Saturn moving forward in your 4th house, you may be able to actually move forward on some things that have sort of been delayed. So I don't know if you're trying to do stuff in your home and you can't seem to get people to help you. That's not an unusual thing, actually. It's there is a lot of need for people who know how to do things, and there isn't a lot of people left to do things. So that's something that we can look forward to in the future, to create, the trade jobs, right, for more people. That's another story for another day, but I thought I'd bring it up. And then on the 18th, we have Mercury and Jupiter moving direct. And so those are the two planets of the mind. Jupiter is in Aquarius, so that is your fourth house as well. And Mercury is in Libra, of course, which is your 12th house. So your 12th house, and there's also a trine between Mercury and Jupiter at this time. There was one at the end of September, there's one on the 3rd of October, and there's going to be another one on the 1st of November. That trine brings flow between your 12th and 4th house. So we can actually perhaps do some healing work when it comes to family of origin issues, which really is always a tender spot for Scorpio. It is a water sign. It's a fixed water sign. So I think that's what I want to say about just general stuff about your astrology. So now we're going to use the tarot deck, the Connolly Deck, and take a look at what's coming up for you in the month of October. Okay. I like to do three shuffles and then cutting the cards. Okay. We start with the Ace of Swords. Nothing like starting easy. So this is about taking an action. This is about taking an action. You are ready to take an action. You are ready to take up the sword. And what does the sword do? Well, it's the sword of truth, number one. And what a sword does is it cuts away, right? So there are choices to be made, and you are ready to make those choices. You are ready to cut out those things which no longer serve you and move forward with that sword of truth and justice in your hands. What challenges that? We have the Queen of Wands. Queens are the sustainers of the tarot, and Wands has to do with it has to do with life. It has to do with spirit, but it has to do with what you believe. So it's your intuition. So you're ready to take cut things away. You're ready to take up arms in a way, and that kind of makes sense because at the end of the month, Mars will be going into your sign of Scorpio, and that's really when the Scorpios do their most intense work, right? But there is not quite you don't quite have a clear view on things quite yet. So it's going to require you, and I think part of that has to do with the fact that you really do need to work out some of that sort of karma that's sort of sitting in that 12th house, waiting to be released, waiting to be resolved. It's not just about releasing it, but it's about resolving it. It's about understanding it, and it's about letting it go, right? Ultimately, Scorpio is the sign of letting go, and what Scorpios find out in their life is that you can't hold on to anything whose time has come to let go. At the root, we have the Chariot. So we have the Ace of Swords to start. We have the Chariot ready. It's like the car is running. The getaway car is running. But there's still that Queen of Wands energy that is... And the Queen of Wands can also be somebody in your life that is true and compassionate and loving and generous of heart, that is making you hold back from really sort of taking the sword and going on the road and jumping in the getaway car. In the past, we have the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is about comfort, but it's about comfort that you have done the work to deserve. So, so that's in the past. Let's see what's in the sky. We have the Eight of Pentacles in the sky. The Eight of Pentacles is work, 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 work. There's more work to be done, but this always is indicating like some sort of drudgery. So it seems like you're really ready to go, but there's still work to be done. And even though maybe you don't want to do it and it's drudgery or it's tedious, Spirit is saying, get the work done, get your finances in order. You cannot depend on your past, which has been very comfortable when it comes to those issues. There's still work to be done. Let's see what's in the immediate future. The Ace of Wands. So 2 aces. Wow, this is really powerful, Scorpio. This is new opportunities, new beginnings, new inspirations. So what this card tells me is that you need to, while you want to get up, take the sword up, and you want to get in the getaway car, and you want to, do what you want to do, if you give yourself the time, if you hold back, there will be inspiration as to where and what you need to create. So I think that's important. So there's a lot of new beginnings, but there is a certain amount of delay around those beginnings. And part of that is you have to deal with your stuff that you haven't dealt with before you can move on. Has it seen from the outside? A little indecision. There's really not indecision here for you guys. It might look that way for other people, like, why aren't they choosing? It is, and to a certain extent, this is a decision. Do I take up arms? Do I take up arms? So that is, that's a good consideration. Let's see what's in the, okay. In your domestic situation, we have the Two of Cups. This is about relationship, but it's strong relationship. It's relationship between two people who stand side by side. They each have their own cups. They each have their own lives, but their lives together opens up a portal, So cherish your relationships. Cherish those that are in your domestic situation. Cherish those who you love. Remember that before you take up that sword and jump in that getaway car, there are people in your life that you are connected to that depend on you. So you can't be foolish about what you're going to do. Hopes and fears. This is the Nine of Swords. You're hoping that the hard times are about over. And we have the Ten of Wands as the outcome. So the Ten of Wands in this deck really is about all the experiences that you've had, all the 10 wands, and this person is planting an acorn from these wands, right? These wands are oak trees, right? And he's planting an acorn. So this is telling us to plant a new seed based on all of your experience. Let's see if we can get a major arcana. We have the Six of Cups. That's about nostalgia and childhood. The Ace of Cups, happiness. And the Sun. It's interesting because there was when I did the Cancer reading, there was a choice to be made. What were you going to choose? Were you going to choose wallowing in the challenges of change, or were you going to make the best of it? And there's a choice here as well, but as with Scorpio, it's always a little bit more intense. These cards tell me that there are those Scorpios out there, and Scorpio is always an archetype of initiating change. It's the nature of change in its way. Death and rebirth. So Scorpios are ready to take up arms, but these cards are suggesting that maybe that's not the best way to move forward. It's not about taking up the sword, but it's about nurturing the love that you have in your life. It's about nurturing your children and your family and your home. and perhaps maybe focusing on that more than actually focusing on what's going on in the outside world and all the good that you could do with your sword. So, you will have your opportunity. The chariot is waiting. The chariot's running, the car is running. There will come a time when you will take up arms, so to speak. But it has to be based more on love than anything else. So you have a choice here to become either a spiritual warrior or a plain old warrior. And there's plenty of plain old warriors. We need spiritual warriors on our side. We need people who carry the light. And even though Scorpio kind of gets a bum rap when most people talk about Scorpio, they truly do carry the light. In the tarot, the Scorpio energy is seen in the death card, and the death card is a 4 vibration. It's a 13-4, and 4 is about building foundations. So it's letting go to build new foundations, and that foundation for you, Scorpio, needs to be a foundation of love. So love love your family, love the one you're with. I know it's difficult. You see things happening and you're like, oh man, I know I just one fell swoop of that sword and I could take care of this. But everybody has their journey, and as much as you want to help, sometimes it's best to help yourself first. All right, guys, take care. Have a great October. Like and subscribe if this is something that a Scorpio in your life and you think that this is something that could be valuable to them. Please share it with them. Have a great October, and namaste. Much love.